First of all, we're recording this, and you just don't know if what's going to happen in this world of football. Things come at you fast. We're presuming Graham Potter is still in the job once this game occurs, and I think that will be the case. The pressure that you're seeing him under, has that surprised you, or is that just life as Chelsea manager?
Yeah, I think it's just life as Chelsea manager. I think it's probably difficult for him, all new to him. I think up to now in his career, he's obviously been on a bit of a wave, hasn't he? Especially Brighton, where he's done unbelievable, really, or probably overachieved, but he's probably thinking, wow. I mean, he looks pretty stressed to me when he's in interviews. He's getting tagged and anything he says is front page in it news. I feel for him a little bit because I think he's a really good manager. I just think it's the wrong club. I don't mean that disrespectful to him. I just think it's a certain job for a certain man, like Mourinho or someone like that, who can take on all
personality. Do you mean?
Yeah, take on the media. And obviously it's all new to Graham, and I think it would have been probably a good job for him, another 3 or 4 jobs along the line when he's got all that experience, been at maybe another couple of clubs. But I still think he's a really good coach. I just think you look at the players. Did he sign a lot of them players? You don't know. He probably doesn't know his best 11. Is he getting told to play players he probably doesn't want to play? Do they fit the style he wants? I think he sort of said that in his interview, didn't he? Like, I'm not the problem. So, what is the problem? What is he? Which is the big thing to say, because you're questioning the club and the owners. I think then difficult for him. I think he's going through a bad moment, but he'll be better for it in the long run. But if you ask me about the game, I think you got to favour Tottenham in the circumstances they're under.
You can provide that insight of obviously being that player. When you talk about the interviews and what's kind of broadcast to the rest of us, we do dive into that in a huge way, kind of what they say, how they say it. When you're sort of face to face with a manager all throughout the week, how much do you guys take on what's said, or do you just kind of go, well, I don't need to worry about that because I get to talk to the manager himself? Like, how important is that stuff to the players? I know it's important to the media for the sort of narrative of it all and the fans, but what about the players?
I think they'll be watching him.
Yeah.
I think they'll be thinking, the players who've been there from day one with him will think, oh, he's changed. He was quite confident when he came in. Is he handling it right? They'll definitely be looking. That has to be the truth. I remember thinking, Brendan Rodgers getting the Liverpool job, a very young manager, but he felt like he had a lot of experience for a young manager. He handled it quite well. He was quite confident. He liked the media. I think he liked to play games with them and stuff like that. He looked like he handled it a lot better than what Graham did. But yeah, they'll be looking, thinking, what's he going to be like next couple of weeks? Will he change? Is he handling that pressure? Then the players might think, I don't think he's big enough maybe for this job. So all that will be getting thrown at him. But yeah, if you ask me a question, if I was a player in that dressing room, I'll be certainly watching him, thinking, how's he going to handle these next couple of weeks? What teams are going to pick? Will he be strong and drop maybe a new sign who's not playing that well? All little things will be going through their heads. It's just natural. It's human, sort of nature. So, and he'll know that. I think he'll know. He's not stupid. He's clever.
It's a tough job, isn't it?
Very difficult.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, my thing is that this is like, there's already like an image of him in the media. Everyone thinks he's a nice guy. Chelsea are not used to having nice guys. What if that is what Chelsea want now? So if you're watching him as a player and he's brought you in and you're Sterling or whoever, and he's saying some of this stuff in the media, surely when he goes and has a chat with you, you're going to listen to what he's telling you, right? Rather than listen to what he's saying to the media. Because you just said there, like, Rodgers and other managers play games with the media. So if he can convince you that he's on your side, you're probably all right, no?
Yeah, in terms of especially the coaching as well. If he's saying, "Oh, this sort of works," and he believes in what he's doing and sticks to it, players will be like, "Oh, well, he said we were going to say press, and now he's saying we're all defensive." If they start seeing a bit of change, they'll think he's sort of panicking. But I think if he sticks to his beliefs and, like you say, he gives them players confidence and he keeps believing in what he says, I think they'll think, "No, he's handling this quite well." He might be putting another story out to the media, but behind closed doors, he's actually keeping all of the squad and the players want to play for him. That's obviously, like you said, a different thing. There's all these little games go on, I think.
What's amazing is, I think, actually, the burden of the decision, it's not going to affect Graham Potter's... I don't think it affects his reputation, really. Because I think there's this idea of what Chelsea are like. And that's still coming off the back of, 19 years of Abramovich, where he would have been gone. Yeah. He would have been long gone by now. So you're right, in terms of that decision, if they do sort of stick with him, and allow him to get to August, and then they start flying because they've shown that they back the man instead of the results, then that can actually wash away this very ingrained culture that we think of when we think of Chelsea. Yeah. I said when he got the job, I said I thought it would get eaten alive. and I think he probably will. But when I've done content talking about him, all the comments are going, I'm a Palace fan, we'll have him. I'm a Tottenham fan, we'll have him. Yeah. So I think it's I do actually weirdly like the strategy of him, because I think he has to stick to his beliefs. Yeah. And if it comes together, then great. Because actually on the pitch as well, in the last week, their XG, which I know doesn't mean everything, but the XG kind of highlights the chances that you're having. And their XG was 4.33, and they haven't scored a single goal in the week. That's kind of unlucky.
But in all fairness, you're talking about style. When you watch Chelsea in every single different game, I feel like you're watching a different team every single time. That's where I think people have a disconnect to what Potter's doing. Because at Brighton, he knew his style. And in all fairness, at Brighton, they struggle for goals as well. And I think you've seen a lot of similarities here where they're trying to walk the ball into the net, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. So over his 2 full seasons at Brighton, the XG was like 97 goals, and they scored 82 or something like that. So it is something that does seem to follow him around. But at Brighton, there was this idea that he didn't have the striker to do it. And this is the hilarious thing that we keep coming back to, is that the striker position is still the problem, even though you've got 11 forwards supposedly when you list them all down there. Getting to the game here, is that something that needs to... I feel like there's a huge decision here for Graham Potter in terms of Aubameyang up front, because Havertz hasn't worked, Fofana hasn't worked. He's kind of bombed him out already, but he is an out-and-out striker, and that seems to be the main problem. But if he plays him, he's kind of backtracking on his ideas and his initial decisions. So what on earth does he do when it comes to that? Do you stay away from Aubameyang?
Difficult. I mean, I was surprised when he sort of bombed him at the start, because, like you said, he didn't have anyone else. Maybe use him until you get someone in the door, and then maybe sort of phase him out. Not I'm saying bomb him out, but phase him out and just say, listen, I've got a new striker, you're whatever age, it's time for you to move on. But is he getting thingy from above? You don't know what's really going on. That's why sometimes managers lose their job, and sometimes they're getting told what to do. That's why I think he has to stick to his beliefs. If he thinks Aubameyang's good enough, play him. Doesn't matter who's coming in the door to say, no, this is what I believe in. He's the focal point. We're going to play off him, use him for a year until I get who I want in. But like you said, if he goes back now and then puts him in, that looks to me like...
And it doesn't work.
He doesn't believe in the players that have been brought in.
Yeah. That fully comes back to the first point you made there. If he goes, lads, we're bringing Aubameyang, look at this new signing, it's Aubameyang, they're all going, boss, you bombed him out 6 weeks ago, he can't be having an impact. Yeah. Although, like you said, if they go and win a few games, Aubameyang's now the new toy, and Aubameyang does have the capability to do that. But I just think Potter cannot bend his ways. If you go back to Aubameyang now, then you're going to have to start Mudryk, and I think he's done actually quite well where he's gone, you're not quite ready yet, so I'll start you on the bench, I'll bring you in when I can. I think start Sterling through the middle. Yeah. You've got a man who's played through the middle. Go play him through the middle. And he scores goals. It's his currency. He was brilliant against Southampton off the bench. Put him through the middle. You've got loads of wingers. Don't stop playing him out wide.
When it comes to Tottenham, obviously you've got Conte, who had a bit of beef with Tuchel, and then off Tuchel went. I'm intrigued to see the handshake at the end of it all. If Conte
he might not be there.
It would be funny if he kind of, because we spoke about this last week on the show, saying actually those two personalities really should swap. And they would be sort of perfect for the other teams. Yeah. In terms of the tactics in the game, we know how Tottenham generally play against other sort of big six sides. Do you think this is a game that normally Chelsea have actually picked off Tottenham quite easily, but in a game like this, sort of low block and allowing them to put crosses in, this should play into Tottenham's hands?
Potentially. Yeah. But I do wonder with Tottenham that you don't know which Tottenham's going to turn up. Against West Ham in the first half, it was absolutely awful to watch.
That is the Tottenham we're used to, turning up though.
But then in the second half, you get this sort of contrasted side that occasionally can string passes together, and at other times they can't play football, essentially. Then you come up against a Chelsea side that at times can create a lot of chances, and at other times, like in the game against Liverpool, for example, there was 20 minutes they couldn't keep the ball. I honestly think this is going to be, the ball's just going to keep going out of play, throw-ins. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to this game at all. You know me, I'll watch any game.
You will watch anything.
Look at the personnel, though. I think of Tottenham's personnel. If you think of Graham Potter's style, I think then he would get a tune out of that team. You think of Son and Kovalevsky and Kane and...
and I think it would feel a bit nicer. And I do, and that sounds really...
He's a Tottenham fit, isn't he?
Like,
He feels like a Tottenham fit.
Yeah, I do think that. He's a bit like, he has got that Poch kind of way about him in terms of like it being, trying to play good football, which has always been a Tottenham thing, despite actually the last 3 or 4 years and being the complete opposite. But that's another video. So how's this one going to play out? I've got to be honest, when I think of Tottenham, and before we started recording, we were looking at the table and we're like, they're fourth, but they've been playing really badly. That that makes me think that they win this game, actually, especially at home. It feels like the difference for Tottenham in terms of them being in the top four has been Kulusevski when he's fit, and ultimately Harry Kane, or Harry Kane setting up Son like he did at the weekend as well, just to get them over the line. This feels like that for me, and I think this could be the one. This could be the end. They haven't won since 2018 against Chelsea. I've got a feeling this is a 2-0 win. Kane and one that he assists, and Potter's out the door after this one. How do you see it playing?
If Potter makes the game, but I think if he does, I think I agree with you. I think that the confidence, the way, the scrutiny. I just think if Chelsea don't start well, the fans and everything is not going to be a nice atmosphere for them. But I just think Tottenham will, like you said, get over the line. I think they'll win the game. Like you said, which Tottenham's going to turn up. If they play like they did the first half, then Chelsea could nick something. But if they play like second half, they probably win the game. So probably 0-0.
There you go. What do you say?
But yeah,
I'll probably go 1-1. I think Potter will be fine.
You do 1-1 every week.
Yeah, normally there is a 1-1 in there.
It's safe.
It's just a good shout.
I'm basically doing the Ten Hag, saying we're not in a title race. We could be in a title race, but we're not though. I'm going to say 1-1. I don't fancy either team. I think Chelsea have done pretty well against sides that have kept the ball. In terms of like since he's been there, they actually sort of I think they just contest well against teams where they can play in transition a little bit. So I think, honestly, like I said earlier, the ball's going to be going out of play a record number of times. It's 1-1.
Enjoy the game, guys. Let us know your comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.